Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome once again to it's actually our fifth panel event where we're going to talk about all things AI and project management. I'm happy to say that we've had over 300 registrants from over 40 countries this time. And in a moment, we're going to boil down this subject of, AI and project management beyond the myth. What is the capabilities of AI in project management today. But before I get going on that agenda, let me introduce the panel to you. First of all, from France, Jean-Christopher, as well as being an experienced speaker at the Project Management Institute, JC, as he's like to known, is the founder and CEO of Tactics, and who look to bridge the gap between strategy and execution. And I know that he's highly interested in the world of AI and sustainability, and I'm really looking forward to what he's going to tell us today. Welcome, JC.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Excellent.
Very nice. Very happy to be here today.
Fantastic. Sang, just very quickly, Hussein is not having the access rights. Can you just drop it into the chat, please? Second up is Ricardo. Ricardo has more than 20 years of experience, with the majority in leading in PMOs, projects and programs and portfolios. He's worked in more than 40 countries across multiple continents. I know today his home is Microsoft, and he's going to tell us about some of the exciting stuff he's doing there. He's also worked at other large enterprise organizations such as Ericsson and Telefonica. He speaks at international events and has an array of project management related qualifications and awards. Welcome, Ricardo.
Thank you, Lloyd. Thanks for the invitation. A pleasure to be here.
Excellent, excellent. Has Hussein joined us?
Wait 1 second.
While Hussein's coming to the screen, let me introduce him and just let me know when he arrives. Yeah. So Hussein is a US based, and I love this expression. He calls himself the PMO-preneur, as in the entrepreneur for PMOs. He provides tailored help to PMO leaders so that they can overcome the stress and limited direction to realize PMOs to become successful and fulfilling in their careers. He's the first LinkedIn learner on the subject of PMOs. More recently, he's got a course on AI in project management on LinkedIn. He's trained over 160,000 project and PMO leaders at both Fortune 500 firms and small and medium businesses. His goal is that every person he speaks to walks away with knowing a little bit more than before about all things PMO and project management. Hopefully, Hussein, you're with us now.
Couple of minutes to join.
Sorry, is Hussein on the line, Sang?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay, if that's the case, I'll introduce Hussein in 1 second. I'm just conscious that we've got a busy agenda today. The agenda that we're going to cover there, we've got 90 minutes today. And in the 90 minutes, we have got 60 minutes to talk about an introduction, case studies, and we're going to introduce 4 case studies today. And then we're going to look at the lessons that are pervasive across those case studies. And the objective is to have 15 to 20 minutes at the end to be able to talk about Q&A. So if you've got any Q&As, the Q&A function is enabled in Teams. So please drop the Q&As in there now and as we go. But I'm going to dive in. Sang, I presume you can see that Hussein's having some technical issues, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Please let me know when Hussein's on the line. Yeah. Okay. So let's get going. So first of all, for myself and fellow project professionals, what a fantastic time to be in the world of project management. In case you hadn't realized, we are going through the biggest change in project management for some time. I spoke to somebody today and they were saying the biggest change since Agile was born. I personally think it's bigger than that. So it's exciting times. However, it is still relatively early times in this journey of AI and project management. And in a second, I'll show you broadly how we think that AI can be applied to project management. But we're in a world where, with the advent of dare I say, ChatGPT in November 22, there's been a lot of individual experimentation, and it's now only that companies are starting to embrace that experimentation, but it's early days and there's not many that have moved beyond mobilization. But today I'm going to bring you some real case studies, as it were. So first of all, what are we talking about with AI in project management? And the first thing I would say that there's a typical life cycle. There's a pre-approval stage, there's a deliver stage, and then there's an operate stage. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to take that data that has been locked away from historical projects, and we're trying to understand that data, give it meaning, and serve it as early as possible, and serve it in different forms, such as predictions of the latest outcome, or the most likely outcome of a project. And we're trying to provide the human of which actions, which interventions they could undertake to improve the likelihood of project success. So that really is what we're trying to drive at here. Now, there is lots and lots of commentators in this space, and virtually every day a new name pops up, certainly in my feed. And for me, when you look at this generally, the use cases fall into an effectiveness and efficiency side. So by efficiency, I mean about doing things right. So doing more for your available resources. By effectiveness, doing the right things. So perhaps we can run projects quicker, but that doesn't necessarily mean to say that we're doing the right projects in the first place. And those are the typical use cases. And of course, it's not necessarily completely demarcated by those lines. So I'm just going to give one more slide, and then I'm going to ask the panel for their thoughts on this, as it were. So we as an organization classify the tools around AI in a 2x2 grid. Down the left-hand side there, you've got how adaptive the technology is, how intuitive it is. And across the right-hand side there at the top, you've got how much the human is in the loop. And of course, you can see there is, as the AI gets more advanced, the less the human potentially is in the loop. Now, when you think about this from a product point of view, this streamlining and automation has been where the majority of the first wave of AI products existed. So, for example, individual chatbots, we're getting quite familiar with those, and they tend to be very product specific. But as we've moved more along that curve, we've seen the advent of robotic process automation, large language models such as ChatGPT, and we've moved more into this virtual assistant mode where we're linking different applications together and unlocking the knowledge. If you go down the left-hand side into the more insights and foresights area, this is very much more about the area of what PPM tools, project portfolio management tools do, and in the area of project prediction. What's the most likely outcome of projects? And I think, you know, on the marketplace today, there's about 150 PPM tools, and virtually every single one of those tools is talking about how they're building AI and prediction and chatbots into their systems. The last bit I would say, and as you drift towards this bottom right, where you've got what we call bionic or self-directed systems, you know, and ultimately you've got this moment where would there be a human in the loop? And maybe that's a question I'll ask the guys in a second about. But basically, as far as I'm aware, as of today, there are no systems in place that are used to manage projects where there is not a human in the loop at some level or other. And I think this is one of the interesting things here for me is that there is definitely not a shortfall in terms of the demand for project management. So don't worry, people, there's going to be plenty of work. But ultimately, I think I would loop this back into driving efficiency and effectiveness. So when you're thinking about what tools, think about how they're going to drive the efficiency of your project delivery or how they're going to drive the effectiveness. So the top line there about efficiency and the bottom line there about effectiveness. Now, look, I've done far too much talking, so I'd like just to bring some panel members in now and just see what their views are around this classification for project management. JC, what's your initial view in terms of what I've quickly presented there?
Okay, so let me open my mic. Thank you, Lloyd. It's a very interesting view, and actually, I like the statement about what you explained about taking the decision. So actually, so we can see that AI in project management is going to help very much about understanding the context. So actually, we have different fields. We have one area which is understanding the context, and AI is going to be, especially if we take LLMs, ChatGPT or the equivalent, it is going to give us a lot of ideas. And especially when it comes to the early phases of project, of the project life cycle, like the initiation or the planning. Then you can have, of course, automated processes and all the improvement which is going to take on in processes. But eventually, in terms of like taking the decision, we know that, you know, it's like a complex tool. It's like as if you have a complex car. So it's very, it can drive at a very high speed. It can help you to go very far and very fast, but you know, you have to know how to drive it. And you have to know to be at the command, and you have to be in the driver's seat. So this is what is important to know about AI, is that it can help you predict the future, but eventually decisions are never going to be taken by AI because they are depending on the context. And so far, we cannot algorithm the context because it's always changing.
Yeah, I love your analogy to the sort of sat navigations, as it were, and you know, it wasn't that many years ago where you had to plug your sat nav into your cigarette lighter and put in the map, and we were all dubious as it took us down that country lane through a lake, as it were. But as of today, sat navs are much more intelligent, and it's the same point, I think, that with the AI around project management, we're just seeing the beginning of the technology, and it will improve us as well. Now, I'm told we're having some technical issues with Hussein, and Ricardo is coming back in 1 second. So my suggestion, Sang, is that we just launch the poll as the introduction for one moment. Is that okay, Sang?
Yes.
Yeah, could you just launch the poll? So we were going to do this after Hussein joined us, but basically we're looking at what is your organization's level in terms of AI in project management understanding, and we've just got some 5 base levels there. Are you observers? So you're listening into this talk and not quite sure what's going to happen. Are you amateurs? You know, you started to tinker with the use of AI in project management. Are you explorers? Are you explorers that they're leveraging some of the AI in project management? Are you leaders? Yeah. Do you have great knowledge and you've got some tools in place, or are you masters? Perhaps it will just give you a couple of minutes to say where your organization's at. Okay, Sang, can you tell us where we're at?
You want me to finish the poll now, or?
Let's just give it 30. Yeah, I think it's stabilized. Just if you close the poll now, if that's okay. So
Yeah.
so I think, and JC and I will have a quick chat on this now. I think the most interesting thing here is that when you look at the results of that poll, I think it bears what I was saying a second ago, that it is still the early days here. You've got, you know, broadly speaking, guys, a third of the audience who are observers, so haven't actually begun their journey at all. Broadly speaking, a third are amateurs. So in other words, they're starting to do some basic experimentation. I think what is quite pleasing to see here is that broadly a quarter of the audience now are doing stuff with AI in project management. And I think that is a significant change in the last quarter, as it were. However, it's very early days, and you know, certainly there's only a few here who are in the leaders space, and I'm happy to say there's nobody claimed to be the Yoda of the group here. JC, any surprises for you there?
So I'm not surprised. So I believe that shortly we will probably have more explorers than amateurs. So as you said, Lloyd, we are in early phases, and I can understand that organizations, I mean, I believe almost all the organizations, they are looking at AI. But in a very conservative mode, very prudently. So I believe, so we can see your screen, Lloyd.
Oh, so, sorry, I'm just trying to get Hussein resolved. So
yeah, no problem. So actually what happens is that when companies, I mean, going to AI is investment. So companies would like to do this with a certain number of things in mind. First, making sure that they choose the right tool. And what we can see is that on the market, we have plenty of new tools appearing every day. And with new features, the classical project management tools are adding some AI. So we are not in a kind of stabilized space in terms of functionalities. So this is number one. And I believe most of the companies, they wait a little bit before it's stabilized. The second thing is about security of data. So I believe a lot of companies, I mean, by no means they would like to get a leakage of their data through ChatGPT or whatever system. So they want to make sure that they keep their data inside. So they want to address the security problem, confidentiality problem before they go to AI. And I believe the third item to be taken into consideration is the quality of the data and quality of AI benefits. So they shall make, it's like machine learning. They want to confront human learning. And probably they will wait until their best experts confirm that AI predictions are safe and are quality based before they move further.
I totally agree. As you can probably tell, everybody, we're having trouble with Hussein joining the meeting. So he's going to come in 1 second. But thank you so much for filling that in, JC. To that effect, I think we're going to just switch the agenda slightly and do your case study first, JC. And hopefully by that time, Hussein is rejoined us. So Hussein, sorry, JC, over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Lloyd. So actually, I wanted to show you an interesting case, which is an application of AI. So it's not an application of AI in a project management tool. It's an application of AI in another field. And actually, I was in a congress in Valencia last year, and I met a lot of people. And I met Christophe Joubert, who is the deputy CEO of a company, a Spanish company, which is called ProDevelop. And actually, they have a very interesting suite of software, which is called Posidonia. And I found that this case could tell us a lot of things about AI in project management. So let's move to the first slide. Next slide. So we have 3 slides. So this one is, so why am I talking about this case and what does it tell us about AI? So actually, I can see AI as it's really an enabler for all sectors of the industry. And it's definitely the enabler of an extraordinary wave of digital transformation. So we have had many waves, and we can see that we have now a huge wave based on AI capability. So we were speaking of data and confidentiality. So basically, if I want to present it, to put it simply, if we are able to get data, reliable data, if we are able to ensure confidentiality or availability of this data, so the only thing that we need is the powerful algorithm to process this data and get the value out of it. And this is what AI is proposing. So before, actually, we had not so many needs because people didn't know that that was possible. But now we can see even in the field, different fields, like here, we are going to see in the port area. So Posidonia, as I was saying, is this software suite, which is based on AI and based on multiplicity of data, developed by ProDevelop, a technology company, and which is here in this example used for port operation. So I found it interesting because, of course, it's not we more think about IT-based things, but here this is an example that could touch all of us, and I can see the AI like a snowball effect, where I mean, given our volatile world, we will need to get a lot of. We were mentioning effectiveness and efficiency, and AI will help us. And what I found interesting is the connection between AI and major mega trends like the sustainability and our targets for reducing the CO2. So here, if we make an integration of not only AI, but all the data sent by the IoT, by the objects, by the things, Internet of Things, using BI, using satellite data, giving us some data on like the air, the soil, the sea. And also, I wanted to take this opportunity to mention the drones, which are going to be obviously the source of an upcoming digital wave. So why? So I show you two examples here. One example is that we can equip drones like they can sniff the CO2, and they can spy the different boats to get their to reduce pollution and measure their CO2 emission. And they can also make sure that all the port cities like Barcelona, like Bordeaux, like all the cities in the world with port, how to reduce pollution and improve attractiveness from an economic perspective.
Excellent.
So,
do you want me to move forward?
Yeah. Thank you, Lloyd.
Okay.
So this is a quick slide about Posidonia solution. So I'm not going to enter into details. So you have here, there is a short video that you can see. You have the QR code, and if you have the slides, you'll get the link explaining how it works. So basically, AI is used here as connecting a lot of data and helping all the port operations. And what is interesting is that the port operations, they involve a lot of different stakeholders, a lot of different data, a lot of operation. And the benefits are obviously be an optimization of the different processes, will be a reduction of the pollution, will be an increase of the safety on the port, will be an increase of effectiveness, optimizing the movements of the boats and so on. So it's in an incredible integration software suite, which is powered by AI. So what does that tell us about project managers? So first, AI, of course, there are drawbacks of AI, and we have already touched upon some of them, but basically AI will create tons of new projects. So this is good for project managers. And what I can see is that a lot of these projects will be transformation projects. So transformation, of course, integrating people, technology, and processes. And we can see that we have some adoption challenges, like people are not used to let AI help their decisions, especially when it comes to optimizing the operation. And I can see that the project managers will be requested to get this skill of having a complex, holistic view. And we'll have different projects like solution development project based on AI versus deployment projects. So eventually we can say that this requires from project managers to develop, of course, analytical skills like problem solving, complexity management, business analysis in terms of a lot of different stakeholders, but also all the soft skills in terms of negotiation, influencing, building trust, and of course execution, because we need to make all these people and all these components work together. So this is a summary of this case, and I wanted to show an example of application of AI combined with other technology and what it means for project managers.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, JC. And can I just ask, in terms of the status of this solution? So is it live?
Yeah, it's totally live. Absolutely, it is live. It is available, and it is integrating components as it goes, and it's live. It's live, and it's already used. Yeah.
And do you know what the headline insights are that it's providing? Is there any sort of headline KPIs? What's it found out, as it were?
So actually, it opens new perspective, especially coming from sustainability. I mean, the pressure is getting higher and higher by the governments and regulations on the ports. So especially when it comes to pollution, to reducing the CO2, to safety. And this is an area where operation really need to be optimized. So it opens up a new, I would say, area in terms of possibilities for everything related not only to port management, but I would say to the maritime transportation in general. And what we have seen could be probably applied to trucks or to other kind of transportation.
Fantastic. Well, that's lovely to hear. Now, we've still got ongoing issues with bringing Hussein back onto the stage. And I think Ricardo is just about to join us. Is Ricardo back, JC?
So I cannot see Ricardo video. So
okay, I'm going to assume that he's not back. So
hi, can you hear me?
Oh, excellent. Who's that?
That's Hussein.
Hussein.
I'm here.
Hello, Hussein.
Sir, thank you so much. We've, I've been quite open to the audience. They know that we've been having some technical issues. So parking that to one side, Hussein, welcome, first of all. I hope you're well, because just in case other people don't know, not only have we been having technical issues, but Hussein's got an awful cold as well. So I'm very grateful that actually he's arrived, and in any good project, he's arrived just in time. So Hussein, if you don't mind, I brought your slide to the screen. Do you mind leading us through on that?
Absolutely, Lloyd. Thank you so much again, firstly, for having me here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the team for behind the scenes effort for the past little while to make this work. I really appreciate it. And apologies in advance, everyone, for making it, it's better late than never, as I say, but also for the cold that Lloyd already mentioned. And it's a great pleasure to be here as part of the panel. So really appreciate it. As I was going back and forth through the technical issues, I was able to get some snippets of what the conversation was about, and I did get a chance to see the poll and the result, right? The observers and the leaders and the amateurs, etc. And that poll in itself was not too surprising, if you will, right? With any sort of change, with any sort of technology coming into the foray, we always usually see a lot of people who are just quite intrigued about what it is before they want to go ahead and dabble their feet really into it, right? But one of the thing with AI is that it's already been there for a while. It's just that generative AI in the last little while has really projected its use in mainstream workforce and everyday applications, which has made it a household name. And because of that, you see a lot of these I would say excitement as well as concerns coming up. In fact, there's some studies out there specifically from a project management perspective that say that more than 80% of project management tasks will be automated by 2030 through AI, right? And that in itself sort of takes a bit of a back step for a lot of project managers. Like, what does that really mean? Does it mean that we're going to actually lose our jobs? How can we go ahead and address that? And so the case that I want to talk about here is focused specifically on that. In fact, I think, Lloyd, as part of the intro that you had about me, and I was be able to sort of go in and back for that as well. It was about my LinkedIn learning course, which recently came out. It's called Thriving as a Project Manager in the Age of AI. And compared to my other previous courses on LinkedIn Learning, which were focused on PMOs, this has seen a dramatic increase in viewership. I would say it's already hit about 3,000 learners, and it's already been released for, like, I think a couple of months or so, which definitely shows that the interest and intent in terms of not just AI, but also validates the fact that people are concerned and they want to take a step forward and make a very proactive approach in terms of what they can do to really take control of their careers, right? So I think the concern that project managers have that will AI replace them or not is real. And I think that what the approach that they should be thinking about is looking at things a holistic way. So a lot of people are right now, jumping on the Gen AI bandwagon and trying to go ahead and learn things around, ChatGPT, etc., that can really help them, conquer AI. But the reality is that they need to understand that in addition to just learning the AI technology, what does the advent of AI into the project management discipline really mean for the role? Because the role and responsibilities of the project managers are going to be evolving and changing as AI starts seeming more and more into it, right? So if we take a step back and sort of think about, well, what is it that AI is or will be doing? Because things are shifting already. So what are things that AI can really do from a project management perspective to aid project managers? Things like auto rescheduling, things like forecasting, things like meeting minutes, things like task reminders, things like scenario planning. These are all things that, I wish I had during my project management days so that I wouldn't have to worry about all the administrative stuff that I have to do sitting after 5 p.m. because my 9 to 5 have been busy with meetings. And now when everyone's gone, meetings are over, I have to sit there and go ahead and catch up on my own stuff. So if AI is thought about as a resource of your team member and embraced with that mindset, I think what that can really help you do is leverage the beauty and power that AI has to offer, right? So number one is making sure that you open up that possibility. Number two is, what does it mean to really get embedded within AI? One of the things that I want to always share about, and this is something that you would tell anyone who is looking for any sort of a job or building any sort of a career, is that you've got to have a strong network, because it matters who you know more than it matters what you know, right? So if you are familiar with people within the AI space, if you are going to AI related conferences, if you go to, and associate with yourself with AI related projects or AI related conversations, even within your organization, whether they're project management related or not, that really keeps you in front of mind of people for a lot of different things. The other thing is focusing on AI related projects. If you get an opportunity to tackle any of those. Now, whether it's adopting AI within an organization, helping the PMO enable and adopt AI-related functions or features, maybe it's helping the sales team using AI to go ahead and project more prospects. Maybe it is working towards an industry level trend within your company's particular industry. All of those things can really help you, give you that added advantage that many others may not have, because like the poll said, many people are still in the observers and amateurs area. So the faster you get yourself towards the leader and the master's role, the better you will be, right? And of course, then learning and yourself, getting yourself accustomed to AI itself, not in terms of just what Gen AI can do, but a lot of PPM tools out there, like Monday.com has Monday AI. I think Wrike.com has, Wrike has, I think Lightspeed Wrike or something like that. Many other PPM tools are using AI features. Asana has one as well to go ahead and focus on specific different features. Some of them are focused on scheduling, some of them focus on our risk management, but whatever PPM feature tools that leverage AI, getting yourself accustomed to those can also give you a leg up in terms of making yourself well accustomed to AI and what benefits it has.
Hussein, I'm just conscious that I want to give Ricardo a bit of airtime in 1 second. If in terms of wrapping this point up, from what I'm hearing, this is about making sure that you embrace AI and making sure that your more traditional skills such as networking with those people around AI, you should push that forward. If I may, is there one killer point that you want to say here, Hussein? Yes,
absolutely. So thanks for that, Lloyd. The only thing that I would like to add to this is that the way project managers will be treated once AI takes over is that you will be expected to deal more and more with people, right? And so whether you're focused on just doing things in silo or whether you're focused on, embedding yourself into administrative reports, etc., AI is going to take care of that. So you will be expected to deal more and more with people. So making sure that you're brushing up on your people skills, whether they're influencing, facilitating, negotiating, are all going to be extremely, extremely important. So if there's one thing that you want to do in terms of making your career, I would say future-proof, if you will, and thriving as a project manager in the age of AI, it's not the AI skills that you need to manage, it's the soft skills that you need to really, really excel at.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that point. I definitely agree. Now, I've just been reminded to tell everybody that the Q&As are open. So please do drop any questions you may have into the Q&A. I'm really excited to hear from Ricardo from Microsoft. So Ricardo, I think you're going to talk to us about Copilot today. Would you like to take the mic, sir?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Joit. So, today I'm going to talk about Copilot because here at Microsoft I have kind of 2 roles. I see AI from both perspectives because I'm leading AI projects, and on the other hand, I'm using AI for leading projects, programs, and portfolios. So I'm involved working for Microsoft, as you know, one of the leading AI companies in many multiple AI experimentation projects, but I cannot disclose most of the things I'm doing. But Copilot is something I can disclose because, in fact, this is available for all of you. So this is something that is already generally available for everybody. So everybody, you can get access to this. And this is very focused on enhancing the productivity as for project managers or even for any other role. So here what I bring today to you is an example of how I have adopted AI, Copilot in this case, along my whole work day. I use it as well outside my work, but today I'm going to be focused on my project management activities. So here what you see is that we have a number of copilots in different apps. So most of you will know most of them. So basically what we have now with GenAI is that we have included in the applications that we use every day AI. So that's something that is making the big difference compared to the past, because AI is not new. AI is from decades ago. But now, from a couple of years ago, the difference is that we are embedding AI in the application that we use every day. So that is the way we are democratizing the use of AI for everybody. So here you see that as soon as I start working in the morning, I'm using Copilot for helping me to plan my day. We'll see later some examples, screenshots, where you will see how this works. I use it as well for sending emails to my customers, as well for getting a brief of all the emails I get, because I guess most of you get a lot of emails with this Copilot for Outlook. You have an opportunity to get a brief, so you need to go email by email. One of my favorites is Copilot for Teams, because this gives me a superpower, that is the capability to be in multiple places at the same time. How? Because with this Copilot, I can be in several meetings at the same time. In fact, I've done that some minutes ago because I had to go to another meeting. So with Teams, you can be in several meetings and be aware of whatever is happening in all of them in real time. As well, afterwards, you can get the summary on all the minutes and everything, even if you are not able to attend it. I use it as well for my work, for preparing workshops. We have PowerPoint where you can get, having as an input a Word document, you can put it as an input, and then you get the slides prepared automatically. And then with the designer capability of PowerPoint that is based on machine learning, you can, in just 2 clicks, change the design that you get. So I tell you, you can save tons of hours using this Copilot for PowerPoint. Then I use this as well for learning, because there are some capabilities that, for example, you can have a YouTube video about, for example, transformers or whatever related to AI. And then with this Copilot, you can ask for a summary of the YouTube video, and you don't have to go through all the video. So you basically get all the summary, and you get the main points. So when you want to have more specific information about one of the points in the summary, you just click and it goes directly to the specific point in the video. So you can get straight to the point that you are interested in. And as well, this is fantastic because it's something that, for me, it's amazing that the language barrier is not present anymore, because you can be watching a video in English or whatever language, and you can ask Copilot in your own language and get the summary in your language, not in the original language of the video. Then I use this as well for Excel, so it helps me to analyze data. So forget about those pivot tables and complex formulas that only the most experts were able to use. Now, just in the chat, you ask, I want this information, give me a summary of what is for example, the revenue this month. So it's totally interactive. So forget about building pivot tables anymore. It's going to do it for you. I use it as well for preparing for the day ahead and for networking, because it helped me to get drafts of posts for VIP Engage. So here below you have all the applications that we have Copilot right now. It's basically all the M365 suite. It's Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, OneNote as well, Teams, Outlook, Loop, Whiteboard. So basically the plan is to have Copilot in absolutely all Microsoft applications. And if we go to the next slide, you will see many different screenshots.
Ricardo, just before we move to the next slide, can I just talk about this? What level of effort for you to configure has been involved in this? Is this just sort of built into these products and you use them, or have you had to create some sort of workflow or something?
It's already built in, so you just have to open the application. You click on the Copilot button, and it's just a chat where you type there and you ask for information or specific options. There are some prompts already predefined as well. People like me that, for example, I'm one of the Copilot champs in Microsoft. We are trying to research new prompts that could be useful for the rest of the people. So this is, you don't have to build in anything. You have already predefined prompts. The only thing that requires more imagination is to think about the specific prompts for specific use cases that may be some kind of differentiators.
Excellent, excellent. So in other words, it's available to anybody who's on the Microsoft platform today to work out how to make the best of this. Thank you for that. Let me just move forward to this second screen a second.
Yeah. Here it's difficult to see because there are so many tools and so many use cases that I'm using currently with all the different apps that here is difficult to bring everything. But just for giving you a snapshot of how is this. So as you can see, everything is a chat. So it's basically natural language processing. So here in the app left corner is what I do every morning. I go to the Copilot M365 chat and I ask, okay, what is my agenda for today? I get all the summary of my meetings. And then what I do is help me prepare this specific meeting I have. And then what it's doing is going through all the documentations, emails, and everything that is in our internal, let's say, call it database. And it helps you to prepare the meetings because he's going to catch up about everything related to that meeting. And then just saying, help me prepare the meeting, you get all the context, all the information, all the background, and even you can prepare the slides directly with the information you are getting. Then about the Outlook, here in the left side is as well, okay. Normally, when you go to a meeting, after the meeting, you have a huge pile of emails in your Outlook account. So what I do here is, okay, give me a summary or just catch up on this specific topic from the emails I've got. So I don't have to go through all the emails. Going a bit to the right is Teams. This is fantastic. So this is, for me, is one of the greatest superpowers. So to be in several meetings at the same time. Because I can be attending this meeting and I can be in another meeting in parallel. I'm not doing it, but I could be doing it and asking Copilot, okay, give me the highlights of that another meeting that is running in parallel to this one. And I'm getting all the summary. And I can even ask, okay, what is the action point that were raised so far? And even if I'm not doing it in parallel, I can do it afterwards. So I can go afterwards when when the meeting is finished, and I get all the summary as you see here with the meeting notes and the follow-up tags. Then going a bit to the right, this is an example of training. So here I use the PMI Sweden AI for Project Management report that was released recently. That has more than 100 pages. So basically what I did, as I don't have time to read 100 pages, is to ask the Copilot, please give me a summary of the main points, main conclusions. And if I want something specific about to know more, I ask Copilot. I don't go and read 100 pages anymore. That's over for me. And here in the upper corner in the right is an example of Excel. That as well is fantastic because I don't know you, but for me it was very difficult to learn all these formulas and the pivot tables. So I was losing a lot of time trying to create the pivot tables at the end, always trying to test different things, spending a lot of time. Here is give me information about whatever. So forget about the formulas. So all the insights that you may get is just with the chat. You don't need to do anything specific in the step anymore, any formulas, any pivot tables. And this is something that is already available, is working, and is proven. And there are already some studies about the productivity that people is getting using this tool. Yeah. And there is around, according to reports, people is saving around 14 minutes. That for me is, I think, is very conservative. Average is around 30 minutes, but for me, I can tell you that as a heavy user, I'm saving or I'm doing more things that I could do in my 8 hours of work using this tool. So it's not about saving, if not as well about being able to do more things in the same time.
Yeah, Ricardo, I'm just going to, now I was going to do Q&As at the end, but there's been a couple of questions come in that I'm going to pose to you, if I may, just because I think they're very interesting. And as you can imagine, you know, Copilot is a very hot subject for people out in the world too. And there's 2 questions, and there's a third one as well, but I'm just going to talk about the first 2. The first one is about confidentiality and your take on the security type dimension. What's your view of that?
Yeah, so basically security is one of the pillars from Microsoft. We build our products based on responsible AI. Responsible AI, there are different pillars. One of the pillars is safety and privacy and confidentiality. So this is one of our premises when we build our products. So that's guaranteed. And I always say when I go to events, never use personal data in ChatGPT, never, or company data, because if you read the clause, you will see that ChatGPT say that it's going to be used for training purposes. Never will happen that using Microsoft products. That's one of our commitments. Your data is your data. We'll never use your data. And the main benefit as well of these products is that the information I'm getting here, when I say, help me prepare this meeting, is information I have around Microsoft cycle, what we call the graph, is the way we call this database. So I'm getting information of my company, and as well, I can get information from outside. But the main difference is that ChatGPT, you are getting whatever information has been used for training ChatGPT that nobody knows. But this is your own Copilot. This is like, let's say, your own ChatGPT. So what you have here is your company information that is secure and is confidential, and your data is your data. So we'll never use your data for training.
Thank you very much for that. I'm just going to pose one other question, and again, it's a challenging one, Ricardo. And you know, I'm only relaying the question, as it were. So it's basically somebody challenging the quality of the output of Copilot. The feedback that they've got, this individual is saying it's missing accuracy, quality, and consistency. And the example they give is when you summarize minutes from a meeting, there's still quite a lot of human effort to double check you know, the minutes that have been taken, and obviously challenge how much saving there actually is. What's your view of quality of the output?
Yeah, I agree on that. So basically, this is a product that is being evolved every day. And that's the reason why, as well, here at Microsoft, we are trying to be the heavy users to try to help to improve the quality of the product. So yeah, I've seen a change because I've been using Copilot before it was generally available for everybody a few months, and I see the journey, and I can tell you that the improvement from the point where we started using it internally till now is massive. So the product is improving every day. And yeah, sometimes you based on the small change in the prompt, you get different answers. So all this is feedback that our product team is getting and is using it for trying to improve the product. And I can tell you that the product is improving. But it is a new technology, so we cannot assume that this is perfect. It's a new technology, it's evolving, and there is a lot of people working in order to make sure that the product evolves.
I'm sure. I mean, it's nascent, isn't it, the technology? But look how powerful it is today. And I think from my perspective, if you roll forward, say, 12 months, think about how powerful it is. But if you roll forward 24 months, think about how powerful it is. So no doubt, as you know, the advent with most new technology, there are teething issues. But I think, you know, recognition is the first point to resolution, isn't it? So I'm sure, like Ricardo said, there's lots of people talking about that. So again, I'll encourage you to put Q&As into the chat, and we're going to do one more case study now, and then there should be time for us to take a few more Q&As at the end. I know Copilot is a very exciting subject, so more to come on that. But thank you so much for that, Ricardo. And the point is, it's here today. And talking about it's here today, it would be remiss of me not to talk about Greyfly's offering. Greyfly, we've been in this space for some 5 years now, and we've created a tool that's called Intelligent Project Prediction. And the headline for that tool is that it uses AI to provide executive insights to increase project success. So this is a tool that is aimed at those more portfolio type managers as opposed to individual project managers. And those portfolio managers or those project directors, they want to know the big questions, which is things like, will my project deliver to budget? Will the go live that I've been reporting actually happen? And that's what we've done here, is that we've created a tool that uses the historical data, looking for patterns in that historical data, looking for similar projects, and using that data to apply machine learning to predict the outcome of projects. This particular customer has a portfolio of circa 300 projects, and it was being trained on about 225 of those projects, and has a reasonable level of, if I call it failing, in other words, don't deliver to the planned go live date or to the budget as well. So as well as providing predictions that are extremely accurate, and I'll talk about that in 1 second, what we also provide is the features that are driving those predictions. So if I may, a very basic example, because we've got an international audience, imagine projects that are coming out of the UK that have a certain key supplier on them. If you look at your historical experience, those projects are always double the budget, double the time. If you then look at your live projects and you've got one coming out of the UK using that same supplier, the system is also going to predict, based on that knowledge, that that project may also be at risk. Now, of course, I've given a very, very simple basic example there of pattern recognition and where machine learning can be applied. Projects in their own nature are dynamic. So, you know, on a regular basis, let's say a monthly progress report, we take an ingest of that data, which is integrated with, in this particular case, integrated with PlanView. And we take an ingest of what the project manager is reporting. We apply a data quality health check to that data. We then play back a prediction, both at the individual project level, along with those drivers for the prediction, but we also look at those drivers across the portfolio. So is it always projects that are coming out of England where they're at risk as well? Now, of course, if you can do that to live projects, you can also do it to projects that are being proposed, as it were. So if we're proposing a project out of England using supplier A, then the system can also predict that as well. The series of steps that we've gone through, we go through an onboarding step before you get to a regular ingest. So on a regular basis, we take the updates from the project manager in terms of what their forecasts are against the project. We play back those predictions along with those driving features, the importance of those driving features in terms of the likely outcome. We also play back a data quality health check. We went through a series of steps. We run the onboarding as a project in its own right. Obviously, the most complex step from a technical perspective is understanding what data exists. What is there a common data model that we can create for that specific customer, and then work out how we're going to move that data around. I'm really, really proud to say that even at the beginning of projects, we're actually predicting at 96% accuracy with the prediction tool. And by accuracy is the way that we measure that, and we make sure that that's very visible within the system. It's the difference between what actually happened on the project and what the prediction system was saying. Now, if you imagine over the life of IPP, it's been initially about creating a system that predicts extremely accurately. More recently, it's been the so what question. So if you know that prediction is accurate right at the beginning, what are you going to do about it? And for me, that's been about integrating it within the workflows of the organization. So for example, if you're talking about projects in delivery, perhaps you, as part of a progress review or a gate review or an assurance review, you say, what's reported? What is the prediction system telling me. Or if you're talking about projects not yet started, it's we're proposing this particular project and therefore let's look at what the prediction system is saying in terms of time and cost as well. And what we found is that it is really surfaced, so brought to the surface what is a more real plan for a particular project. So I think this then starts touching on our other biggest lesson here, that sitting alongside here, you must have a change program. And again, apologies if I'm teaching you to suck eggs. For me, I'm a massive change advocate. So any project should have a change program sitting alongside it. So change in terms of adoption. So whether that's communications and training and breaking down resistance to change, a change program in terms of which processes you're going to integrate the tool within, and a change program in terms of what the benefits are that you're looking to achieve, and benchmarking, and then obviously monitoring. We're now fortunate enough that we're moving forward with the system so that you can start now saying, for example, would there be a benefit if you switched the project from England to Spain? So if Ricardo managed the project rather than Lloyd managed the project, would there be a benefit in terms of time and cost? And really it's about driving that efficiency and effectiveness that I mentioned above. Now, just bringing this back, I don't know whether any of my fellow panelists have any questions for me about this particular case study. This is live and available today, everybody. Any questions from anybody? Ricardo, any question?
Yeah, I have a question regarding data discovery. What are the challenges that you are finding in this data discovery in the companies?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. First of all, it's the biggest blocker in terms of the conversations we have about can you onboard a machine learning based prediction model, and the biggest blocker is the level of data maturity, and for me there's a whole relationship between here, the level of data maturity, the level of project management maturity, and the level of project success. So in terms of that, the first thing we do actually as part of onboarding is a data health check. So we work out what data exists in what format. And obviously, sometimes what we find there is inconsistency amongst the data, but also maybe the data is held in lots of disparate systems. So even once you've worked out what data exists, you may then have to go through a data transformation stage or an ETL stage. We're defining the bespoke data model for that particular organization, and ultimately the question is there sufficient data of good quality to be able to predict against? But yeah, it's the number one initial barrier for us, which is exactly why we've put these tools in place to improve data quality, and it's integrated within the system as well. So yeah, thank you for that question, Ricardo. JC, anything from you?
So maybe not questions, but two remarks. The first one is that it's very interesting because it is addressing something which is not a little bit disregarded in project, which is knowledge management. And generally, the closure phase is the one which is misregarded and very few projects do really a closure exercise with the lessons learned, and this is a problem for the organizations, because actually the organizations, they learn project after project, and the problem is that they really need all the projects, the piles of projects to learn. And the problem of the project manager is that after a project, he's going to move to another project. But still, from the organization perspective, it's very important to capitalize on all this knowledge. And it's, as you mentioned, Lloyd, the problem of how can we capture all this knowledge. So AI, for sure, is going to help the company learn. So this is one point. The second point, so we will have kind of continuous learning, which is boosted by AI. The second point, which is interesting, is that you mentioned the SatNav is not for project managers, but project executive. And this is, I strongly believe that AI is going to change the game in terms of balance between, I would say, executives and project managers. And I saw some statistics saying that ChatGPT and all these engines, they are more used by executives than employees, regular employees, I would say, contributors. And this is because it's going to completely change the perspective. Before, it's like a doctor. Before, we didn't know about the medicine. So all what the doctor says is like, is the very truth. Then we had Google, and we started to question because we started to get information about medicine. And we started to maybe question what the doctor is saying. And now we have AI, and before we see the doctor, we can really try to estimate whether he's right, maybe make him suggestions that we saw from AI. And if I see the comparison now, I believe that now the pressure will be much higher on project managers because now the executives, they have the possibility of using AI-based tool, make prediction and assess and question the quality of the planning project managers propose.
I think it's a really good point, JC. I'm just conscious of time, so please keep dropping those questions in the chat. We're just going to wrap this up so that we can address some of these questions. The first thing I wanted to say, though, JC, your point about lessons is completely spot on, and in my mind, in a way, what you're pointing there is how machine learning works. You're looking for patterns in the data. Now, we actually are embracing that even further in terms of those lessons which were typically shelfware. With the beauty of Gen AI, what you can start doing is start drilling through those lessons and serving those lessons as early as possible. So that is something that we're doing. But for me, ultimately, all of this pattern recognition is the lessons that are within your historical projects. The second part of what you said, for me, I really love there as well, because that's exactly what it is. You know, on the one hand, it's kind of, you know, making us more creative in terms of our knowledge at hand, and you know, and you know, anybody can type in some questions and get some answers, but it's the way that we then use that. And I think you're absolutely right. There could be a pressure on individuals here, and actually one of the questions that came in here, and hopefully it chimes with all of us on the panel, is about the cultural change that is associated with AI and project management. The specific question was about the you know, having the multiple avatars, Ricardo, you know, and the cultural change for those people sitting in meetings where there was just an avatar. But for me, this is a bigger point, and just to re-stress, change management is one of the biggest lessons here in any projects. But Ricardo, do you have a view there, just because it was pointing at this point about you having an avatar in a meeting?
Yeah, you say the main point is adoption. So the technology is here, but adoption is key. So in fact, inside Microsoft, we have the technology and many people are not using it. So adoption is key when you're trying to implement AI in your company. And about the avatars, I'm using avatars in some meetings, but do you know when I'm using an avatar? When I'm not attending to the meeting, because I put the avatar, and with my copilot, I'm aware of what is being discussed, but I'm doing other things in parallel. So if I'm in the meeting, I have my video on. If I have my avatar, it's because I'm doing other things. But that doesn't mean I'm not attending. So I'm attending, but in a different way.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because certainly, you know, I deal with lots of different organizations, and culturally you get different organizations. Some people never come on camera at all, so they could easily, in my mind, be in lots of different meetings. You know, they could be anything. They could be, I don't know, having a nice pint of lager or something. You just don't know what they're doing. And I think as that technology around the avatar improves as well, actually the differentiation between the avatar and the human, I think will blur as well. Obviously, I don't know when that will come, but I imagine it will be coming, and no doubt people are working on it. Ricardo, I know you're not allowed to tell us these type of stuff, but I think, you know, the differentiation between what is real and what is not real is really interesting for me, and that's when you'll get the blend of some of these other technologies as well. On screen, what we have here is the lessons that I pulled together for our engagements around projects. Around introducing prediction projects. But, you know, it feels to me like these lessons are sort of pervasive across the 3 case studies that we've heard today. And I'd just like to check with JC and Ricardo that they you know, support that these are the big lessons. You know, when you're introducing AI, basically run it like a project. We're a project professionals here, guys, and these lessons could be virtually ubiquitous on any technology type project. Do you guys agree with these lessons?
Yeah, completely. I will say that more than like a project, like a transformation program, because at the end there are multiple projects interrelated, and one of the key mainstreams, one of the key streams in this program is the adoption and the change management. If you don't work on the change management, you will have the technology, but it will not succeed, it will never use.
I love your saying that, Ricardo. The man who works at Microsoft is really pushing change management. For me, that's music to my ears. So JC, what's your view? Does this chime with you as well?
Yeah, I mentioned as well transformation, and it's like any technology, and I could see the question in the Q&R. People naturally, they question the quality of data, they question the confidentiality, they question the usage, like interesting, this avatar. I could imagine, I don't know, Ricardo, if we can have a meeting with only avatars attending to the meeting. So if I ask question, will the avatar respond my question? So it's maybe
seeing
this is
that
the next
already.
step.
My understanding is we're already seeing avatars answer questions, and again, for me, this sort of goes back right to the beginning. If you remember my classification of the human in the loop, as it were, you know, and the answer for that, from my perspective, and apologies, I'm not sure how diplomatic it is, but the answer for me is about a time horizon, first of all. So when will you get autonomous projects? Well, I think certainly, you know, not in the immediate term, but if the further you go out, I think the more we all believe that you will get autonomous projects. So I think one dimension of that is about time. The other dimension is probably complexity of project as well. The more repeatable a project is, I think the more likely that we'll get an automated workflow from beginning to end. And, you know, if I call it Copilot version 4 or something, I think by that time, in a few years' time, we will have completely autonomous projects. So I don't know, again, JC, just starting with you, I don't know whether you think I'm you know, out there, or do you think that is possible?
I think it might be, it's like automatic trading. I mean, who would imagine that we have a machine doing trading at a much higher speed than any human, and this is working and it's fine. But it could, as you mentioned, we could imagine this, but only for projects which context is really controlled.
Yeah.
Because this is the problem. It's about decision making. When you might have a decision that makes a lot of sense in a stable context, but in a moving context, it makes no sense. The same response.
Yeah, I think your automatic trading is a really good example. I'd go back to what you said earlier about the sat nav. You know, who could think about a sat nav was telling you where to go? But now we have self-driving cars. So surely, you know, as sat nav technology got clever enough to drive the cars, one day there will be projects that are driven the same way. But like I said, maybe I'm being too futuristic. Hussein, what do you think about this? Do you think we'll have one day where there will be some autonomous projects?
I think so. I think so, Lloyd. I think in the beginning we'll see some of the more rudimentary, less complex projects starting to become more and more autonomous. So I mean things like, so for instance, right today we're seeing very basic tasks getting done automatically, and if you collect those tasks together and make them into very rudimentary projects, I think those can be done pretty seamlessly, autonomously. And I think with the AI technology getting more and more advanced, I can definitely see that happening more sooner rather than later.
It's really interesting. So that's 3 out of 4 of us think there's going to be autonomous projects driven by AI. Ricardo, bring us back to Earth, sir.
Yeah, I already know where is the limit. I know the main challenge right now is the data, because the technology is here. Yesterday was announced a POC with quantum computing. So quantum is coming, it's already here as well. But the difference, I've been working in complex processes in order to try to improve them in refineries and different complex environments with multiple variables, more variables than in a project. And when you have the data, if you use a deep neural network, you can iterate millions of, you can run millions of iterations, and at the end get outputs that you decide, okay, yeah, this is the right output, this is what I should do. The issue is that we don't have those data available right now in project management. So, but in the future, we have the data, we already have the capability. We can run millions of iterations, and for sure we can get outputs from the tools in order to tell us how to manage the project or even put an autopilot. For now, we're in Copilot. So we're getting suggestions and we say, okay, this is correct or not. But in project management, for me, we are very far away from that because we don't have the data. Yeah. And we're trying as well to create synthetic data when you don't have data, but I think we're still a bit far away.
So we're far away, but you believe it's coming. Am I right in saying that?
If we get the data, it's possible.
Fantastic.
And then it will move from Copilot to pilot.
Exactly, JC. That's my point. Now, hold on, guys. Like I said, let's bring us back to Earth. Somebody's asked a really interesting question, which is, isn't the term AI overused when it's not really AI? Ricardo, I'm going to start with this one on you in terms of the overuse of the term AI.
Yeah, that's a good point, because there are many things that seems to be AI, mainly in the tools. And then when you start to research what is in the tool, you don't see AI anywhere. So AI, the most popular now is Gen AI, that is a subset of machine learning, and we have deep neural networks. So most of the tools that I've seen, they don't have yet these capabilities where they analyze the data and based on machine learning algorithms for deep neural networks, they are producing outputs. So yeah. I see very few. In your case, in Greyfly, you have it because you are using Azure Machine Learning. So that's proven that you have AI in your product. But most of the products I've seen, they don't have it.
I totally agree. Now, look, I'm conscious of time, and I just wanted to give each panelist the opportunity to give a sort of takeaway, as it were. So start thinking about that, guys, and I'll come around the table in 1 second. So in conclusion, just to go back to the beginning, it's a really exciting time around AI powering project program and PMO management. It is a pivotal time, but as Ricardo said, it's the beginning, and there's a little way to go. And you know, it's all about the data from a technical point of view. as a panel, we've all agreed there's a change management element, which is as important as the data as well. And there are barriers, both technically and from a people or a change point of view. However, there are tools now, such as the ones that we've heard about today, that are proving to enable savings and proving to create efficiencies and, dare I say, effectiveness as well in the project space. But it requires transformation, and ultimately, you know, a bit like the professional bodies, for me this is all about helping us all towards that drive of increased project success. So I'm just going to go round the table here and ask for a quick takeaway. Hussein, would you like just to give us 30 seconds in terms of a takeaway, please?
Absolutely. So Lloyd, thanks again for the opportunity for having us here. My key takeaway is that, like you said, it's an exciting time. I think with exciting times lie exciting opportunities ahead, and it's about the embracing the mindset is what I would just talk about. One thing that I touched upon in my conversation is that embrace AI, because if you don't, others who do will take a leap step ahead of you. So if there's one takeaway that I would suggest you have from this session, that would be it. And again, there are many avenues for that. You can treat that as a project as well in terms of how you want to embrace it and take baby steps towards that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hussein. So embrace AI. JC, just quickly, sir, we just got a couple of minutes left and I want to hear what Ricardo says as well.
So I will just say that for me, with AI, we are going to have much better tools. However, the last mile is definitely solving problems and finding the way out. And this will pertain with human intelligence.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. That's really adapt, as it were. Ricardo, from you, sir, a quick takeaway at the end.
Yeah. So for me, AI in project management is in the first steps. Is the right moment to step in on it. We are very far behind other professions in the use of AI, but the technology is here and more technology will come very quick. This is evolving very, very quick. So at the end, this is not going to be a matter of technology. This is going to be a matter of adoption and change management. And we, as project management professionals, we are key in this adoption, because as project management professionals, we are the ones that know how to lead the change. That's the reason we are working in this profession. So
I totally concur with what all of the panelists have said. It is an exciting times, and you know, as Hussein said, it's about embracing. As we heard, that yes, it is still early days. It's still nascent technology, but we have the control. We deliver these projects, so do get on board with this. Just very quickly, from a greyfly perspective, please do jump on our social media channels, follow greyfly. There are plans for new panels coming in the future. If anybody's got any specific subjects for panels, please do get in touch, and obviously scan the QR code there. But thank you so much, panelists, for joining me today. It's been a little bit of a rocky road on the old technology today. Who said it wasn't early days in all types of technology as well? But thank you so much for joining me, one and all, and I look forward to catching up with each of you again soon. Thank you, Hussein.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.